What if I told you that the most powerful sales technique in existence has nothing to do with manipulation, pressure tactics, or those cheesy closing lines that make everyone cringe? What if the secret to selling more actually starts with genuinely caring about the person on the other end of the transaction? Stick with me for the next few minutes because I'm about to completely change the way you think about selling to customers. And by the end of this video, you'll have a framework that feels good to use and actually works better than anything manipulative ever could. I'm going to walk you through the psychology of ethical B2C sales and what it really means and why it outperforms pushy tactics in the long run, and the specific techniques that top performers use every single day without ever making their customers feel trapped or tricked. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about why this even matters. The sales industry has a reputation problem. When most people hear the word salesperson, they immediately picture someone trying to squeeze money out of them. And that image exists because for decades, a lot of sales training was built around pressure, scarcity manipulation, false urgency, and persuasion tricks designed to bypass a person's rational thinking. And here's the brutal truth about that approach. It works once, maybe twice, but it destroys trust. It destroys repeat business, and in the age of online reviews and social media, it destroys your reputation faster than you can recover from it. Ethical sales psychology flips this entire model. Instead of asking, how do I get this person to buy? You start asking, how do I help this person make the best decision for them? And that subtle shift in mindset changes everything about how you show up in a sales interaction. Now let's talk about the foundation of all ethical B2C selling. And that foundation is genuine rapport, not fake rapport, not the kind where you glance at someone's desk and say, oh, you like golf? Me too. Or hoping that they'll let their guard down. I'm talking about real human connection built through authentic curiosity about who that person is and what they actually need. The psychological principle at work here is called liking. People buy from people they like, and people like people who make them feel seen and understood. When you take time to genuinely listen, to ask thoughtful follow-up questions, to reflect back what someone has told you, you're not running a manipulation playbook. You're building the kind of relationship where someone feels safe enough to be honest with you about their situation. And when customers are honest, you can actually help them properly. Here's a technique that ties directly into this. It's called active listening. And most people think they do it, but very few actually do. Active listening means you're not formulating your next point while the customer is talking. You're fully present. You're listening for the emotion underneath the words and not just the words themselves. When someone says, I'm just looking around, what they might actually mean is I've been burned before and I don't trust salespeople yet. Your job is to hear that unspoken message and respond to it with patience, not a pitch. Moving into the next layer of ethical B2C technique, let's talk about needs discovery. This is the part that separates good salespeople from great ones. Needs discovery is the process of asking the right questions to uncover what the customer actually wants, what they're worried about, and what has worked or not worked for them in the past, and what a successful outcome would look like for them. The psychological trigger here is autonomy. When people feel like they are guiding the conversation, when they feel like their input is shaping what gets presented to them, they naturally feel more in control. And feeling in control reduces anxiety and resistance. This is why customers who go through a genuine discovery conversation almost never complain about being sold to, even when they make a significant purchase. They don't feel sold, they feel helped. Think about the difference between a salesperson who walks up and immediately launches into a product pitch versus one who says, "Tell me a little bit about what's brought you in today and what an ideal outcome would look like for you." The second person isn't being clever, they're being genuinely interested, and that authenticity is magnetic. Now, here's where things get really interesting from a psychology standpoint. Let's talk about the concept of social proof and how to use it ethically. Social proof is one of the most powerful decision-making shortcuts the human brain uses. When we're unsure about a decision, we look to what other people in similar situations have done. This is hardwired into us from an evolutionary standpoint. Following the group kept our ancestors alive. The ethical way to use social proof in B2C sales is to share real stories of real customers who had similar situations and found genuine value in what you offer. Not fabricated testimonials, not cherry-picked extreme outliers, honest, relatable examples that help the customer picture themselves having a positive experience. When you say something like, "A lot of our customers who were in similar situations told us what they valued the most was this particular feature," then you're giving them real information that helps them to decide. You're not creating false urgency, you're giving them relevant context. Let's shift now to handling objections, because this is where most salespeople either get manipulative or completely fall apart, and neither of those is the answer. Objections are actually one of the most valuable moments in any sales conversation. An objection is a signal. It means that the person is still engaged. It means they're considering this seriously enough to have concerns. A customer who has completely checked out doesn't bother objecting. They just leave. The ethical framework for handling objections starts with acknowledgement. Before you respond to any concern, you validate it. You let customers know that their concern is reasonable and that you understand why they feel that way. This does something important psychologically. It lowers the defensive wall that most people put up in the moment that they feel like someone is trying to counter what they said. After acknowledgement, you ask a clarifying question. You want to make sure that you understand the real concern before you address it. Sometimes what sounds like a price objection is actually a confidence objection. The customer isn't saying that this costs too much. They're saying, "I'm not sure if this is going to work for me." If you respond to the surface objection without uncovering the real one, you'll lose the sale and the customer will walk away still feeling unheard. Once you understand the real concern, you address it honestly. If the concern is valid, say so. If there's a genuine limitation to what you're offering, acknowledge it and either explain why the overall value still makes sense or help the customer find something that's a better fit, even if that means pointing them elsewhere. That kind of honesty builds the kind of trust that generates referrals and loyal customers for years. Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention in sales training, and that's the concept of ethical urgency. There's a difference between manufactured scarcity, telling someone that there's only one left when there really are 20 in the back, and genuine urgency, letting someone know about a real deadline or a limited opportunity in a way that's accurate and relevant. Manufactured scarcity is a manipulation tactic. It hijacks the brain's loss aversion response by creating a false emotional state. Ethical urgency, on the other hand, respects the customer's intelligence. It gives them accurate information and trusts them enough to make a good decision with it. If there really is a promotion ending this week, then say so. If there really are limited spots or limited stock, then communicate that clearly. The key word is real. Everything you communicate to move a customer forward and towards a decision should be grounded in reality. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture of what ethical B2C sales really builds over time. When you consistently use these techniques, when you prioritize understanding over pitching, when you handle objections with honesty rather than spin, when you build rapport that's real and not rehearsed, then something powerful starts to happen. You build a reputation. Customers come back. Customers refer their friends. Customers trust you before they've even met you because someone they respect said you are the real deal. The psychology of this is tied to a concept called reciprocity. When people feel genuinely helped, they naturally want to give something back. In a sales context, that giving back looks like loyalty, positive reviews, word of mouth, recommendation, and return purchases. You don't have to ask for these things. You earn them by being consistently excellent and consistently honest. The most successful salespeople in every B2C industry share one thing in common. They have stopped thinking about the transaction in front of them and they started thinking about the relationship behind it. Every interaction is an opportunity to either build trust or chip away at it. Ethical sales psychology is simply the discipline of choosing to build. So here's your challenge going forward. In your next sales conversation, resist the urge to pitch anything for the first 3 minutes. Just ask questions and listen. See what happens when the customer feels genuinely heard before anything is presented to them. I promise you, the conversation that follows will be completely different, and so will the outcome. If this way of thinking about sales resonates with you, hit the subscribe button because we are going to go deep on ethical influence and psychology every week. Be sure and check out the description for other helpful videos that can take your business to the next level. And drop a comment below telling me what part of this has shifted your thinking. I do my best to read every single one. Thanks so much for being here, and I will see you in that next video.